And we are live. Hello.
Hello.
No one that's currently in here at the moment, but there might be at some point. So if you're watching this on the replay, hi. We're going to be doing a live stream right now, pretty much talking about exactly what the title and the video description are, which is the proposal and
The story behind
following
it.
engagement. Yeah, from this past weekend. So the video that I just uploaded was our engagement at Disney Fort Wilderness Resort in a cabin, and that happened last week. And I finally was able to get the video out. I'm still holding this balloon that Brennan's parents got for us, in addition to some other really cool stuff.
Yeah, I think we're gonna cut it up. Maybe cut the congratulations out of the balloon and save it in a little keepsake or whatever.
I'm gonna raise my microphone because I'm just hunching over right now.
Let's get rid of. Can I click the out of here? Okay, cool. Hello,
So,
everybody.
First and foremost, thank you to everybody who's been congratulating, people that have been just commenting on the video itself, and then in addition to people that are coming in here and congratulating us right now. Don't know if we're going to be able
That's
to
very
individually thank everybody's congratulations.
kind. Yeah,
I just bumped something. I'm sorry.
just the camera, I think.
Oh.
But it's still a bright.
Of all the things to bump, that's the one you don't want to bump. Arlo's just like licking the floor as he does, so I was trying to give him a little tap on the butt.
Oh, that's
But
what you're doing.
instead,
yeah.
I kicked the camera. That's what I get. Right?
He'll stop eventually, so sorry if you can hear it in the background.
Probably not. He does that sometimes. I don't know. Yeah. So everybody just coming into the live stream. I want this to be like more casual. The live streams recently have just been me like recounting a lot of like theme park information and news. So this is like more of like a specific conversation and just like a little storytelling. I think that I find to be very important, just because I want to be able to just like, I want to remember this and put this on the internet, and just maybe specific like feelings and emotions and just like the planning of Arlo is such a distraction and ruining this beautiful moment. But I think that's important because I think that for like a lot of like important things, milestones, you presume that you're gonna like remember them, but then you forget like all of like the specific like details of like those memories.
Mm-hmm.
So the ring, currently don't have it. Getting it resized. So Brennan has a
The silicone one.
yeah, she has a placeholder ring at the moment.
Roy has been going through hell and back trying to just perfect the ring for me and make sure that like it's the ring that he got me in the size that he like that I need it in. But it's just he's been going through like a really hard time. So if anybody has any like validating ring stories of like how hard it can be to get like the perfect ring, I'm sure that would really help, because this poor man, I've been so sad watching him stress over this, and I keep trying to like reassure him like it's gonna work itself out.
But honestly, it's been fun. It was a fun process to just to get the ring in preparation for the proposal, and just knowing like what the ring that I wanted and the ring that I presumed that you would like and you did like. Or at least that's what she's been consistently reaffirming to me.
He picked it out for me. That's the one I want. The one that he saw and was just like, that's
The main
for her.
thing is that I did not know her ring size, and I very discreetly
To
over
be
the past.
fair, I didn't know my ring size.
Well, Brennan does not wear jewelry at all, so except for this, hopefully. I very much so discreetly tried to get her ring size while she's been sleeping, so not creepy at all. Yeah, but I've been trying to get the diameter of her finger and then correlating that to a millimeter size, that then I was able to configure what her alleged ring size would be, and then the presumption of what size ring, with like making sure that it was the perfect size, like getting the ring size up one or two ring sizes up to make sure that it fit, because that was my biggest fear, is getting the wrong ring size or one that was just way too small.
And then not being able to like show it off for the time that I did get to show it off.
Yeah.
Which
so
was
like
very sweet. It
being
was
able to
very
actually
thoughtful.
like put it on, take pictures in Magic Kingdom, because that's pretty much all that you've done. Because we wanted to make sure that we were able to get the ring that we wanted with the specific ring size for the ring that we wanted and everything. So you only wore it really that night to take pictures and stuff, and then you were able to show it off at work, and yeah. So I don't know where to start. I guess I guess at the beginning,
Yeah.
right?
It's your story to tell, man.
If you see anything that's like a question or something that's just like something you think would be interesting to answer, or something that maybe like you don't know that somebody else
Yeah. Someone
asked.
said they stole a ring from her that she was already wearing to like gauge it, but poor Roy, like he said, I don't wear jewelry, so there was like nothing really for him to gauge this off
Yeah,
of.
so I would like when she was like asleep, you know, I like made sure like I tried to just get like the specific diameter of her finger just to like have that like estimate and everything with that fear of just like she's a very light sleeper. So it, just kind of hovering over her sometimes she just wakes up from REM and is just like, yes, you know, so I had to be very discreet about how I got her ring size without giving that away. Again, with the idea that I'd be able to, at least if I got a ring that was maybe a little bit too big, I could get the forever ring, you know, size and everything. But that process has been hard because the stock inventory has been sort of a hassle. But we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
So the engagement story. So this happened last weekend, and I just posted the first night of that trip. So we stayed at Fort Wilderness for a couple nights
and had literally the best perfect weekend.
It was, yeah,
like
it was
even if there was no engagement, it probably would have been like one of the best days that we've ever had,
which is why specifically I wanted to do it there. So the why of Fort Wilderness, narrowing it down, Brennan and I have been together for a long time, so a lot of the stuff that we've been able to do has been very...
Oh, my mommy's here. Hi, Mama.
Oh, yay. She knows the story. Don't spoil it. No spoilers. So because of the incentivizing nature of YouTube, of just like what we do, which is being able to go on adventures and have a fun time doing that, and just sharing like those experiences with each other and everything, it has been a challenge to try to find the right place, the right atmosphere in order to do something like this. That's something that's actually very personal to both of us, something that I needed to be separate from the usual stuff that I do, because on YouTube I've sort of like, I do theme park challenges, right? I do scavenger hunts, I do these specialty fun videos, and for years people have been presuming if I did some sort of a challenge, if that was going to be the proposal, that was going to be how it happened, just that creative aspect and input of I don't know, like doing these scavenger hunts specifically, or if we went on a cruise somewhere, or we just went to a new like theme park together or something like that. I am so distracted by Arlo licking right now, and he always chooses to do this whenever we're in here.
Do you want me to close the door?
Hold on. Arlo.
Don't fall. I'll add that like proposal for Roy too, which is like something that we both agreed on, where it's like the proposal isn't about me, it's about us. So it's not supposed to be perfect for me. It's supposed to be the perfect thing for both of us.
Yeah. So I think what it came down to is I wanted it to be special. I wanted it to be special for me. I wanted it to be sort of unencumbered by the expectations and anticipations by friends and by family and by YouTube comments, and I appreciate that investment, and I always have, but it's not something that I was trying to actually have manipulate my like personal life, intimate decisions, you know what I mean? So I wanted it to be something that was completely intrinsically my idea and like my intention of how I wanted to propose to you, and I wanted it to be special to us. You know, I didn't want it to be this big like thing that could be very much so, you know, over monetized or something for YouTube, because it wasn't for YouTube. And I was very much so more on the side of not even including the video that is in the video from last night of the proposal, because I didn't want to like, it's very windy. Like I didn't want to feel like I was doing it for YouTube. I wanted it to feel like I was doing it for us, for you, you know? And I think that's why it ended up becoming the Fort Wilderness cabin, because that was such like a very personal, private like moment between us. And I just set up the camera like in the corner of the room and just recorded. I even had like a backup camera recording on the opposite side of the room, which turned out completely blurry and just
my butt.
filmed Brennan's butt. But I had a backup camera just in case, and just trying to be discreet about that. But I think I came down to like, and I've told everybody that it was sort of between like a few different choices, where it would either be like on a beach, sort of maybe involving a cruise, like at sunset when all of our families are there, when it's this very collaborative event that's attended by all of our friends or family, and somebody could easily record, and we're both wearing, Hawaiian clothes, and and so that would have been just very hard to coordinate. That would have been very challenging, and there's very short windows to be able to achieve that. And it was either going to be that, or I was also considering like maybe Tennessee. We haven't been to Tennessee together. We haven't been able to experience like that like nature and mountain like aesthetic of what Tennessee, Nashville, Gatlinburg, the Great Smoky Mountains, what that could have been. And that could have been like a beautiful setting to do that. It's just specifically like the Great Smoky Mountains. And then
proposals are the hardest secret to keep from your beloved. That was like one of the first things that Roy told my parents. He's like, I didn't realize doing a proposal was gonna feel so icky.
Yeah, because I lied so much, so many like little white lies or like misdirections.
It is funny, like the way that you start a marriage by secret keeping.
And then the final choice for me that I was considering, like ultimately, in terms of how it needed to be personal to me, would have been a Fort Wilderness cabin, because Fort Wilderness is like, it's such a beautiful place. It is not much of like a well-kept secret anymore as being like a hidden gem of Disney World. Everybody knows about Fort Wilderness, and most people have stayed there, and at least in our community of theme park enthusiasts and vloggers and stuff. But just like the memories that we've made over the years, and that's why I wanted to put together a montage to go along with that moment yesterday, and that's how I really wanted sort of that to like, and I'll get to that hopefully if I can like
Disney,
stay on track.
But it's uniquely Disney, and then it's uniquely to us Disney.
Yes, like it's our own personal cabin in
here.
the
Hi,
woods.
Seth.
Hi, Seth. And Seth is my best friend from high school. So I lost my train of thought.
Did
What
I have
else
any
is new?
idea it was coming? No, I was completely surprised. Like, I was not prepared at all for it. Which is how I wanted it. I always wanted to be surprised. Like, I never wanted to know it was coming, so he was able to pull that off. Which, there's a reason that I probably didn't pick up on any of the clues, and that's like, I think part of the proposal story is like when Dennis came into town. So
Oh my God. We gotta, all right, I gotta try to like,
you gotta condense it.
I gotta move through. Well, no, but the point is to have it be this, just like this conversation. And it's weird. I've been like rehearsing this like in my head,
Meg's
or just,
here too. Hi, Meg.
hi, magical Meg. And it, just like the where to start. I think I have so much information overload, just like the, okay, it started here. It started when we first got together.
Yeah, okay.
And, well, that was another place. You were probably anticipating it happening behind House of Blues, because that's where our first kiss was.
Yeah.
That's where we said I love you. So just like poetically, it would have made sense for that to be
I
it
always
too.
thought that would have been an option.
But simultaneously, we didn't want to do like the public engagement. That's not something that was really our vibe, you know?
Yeah, I
where
definitely didn't want a public.
it wasn't going to ever be inside of a theme park in front of the castle, or, you know, in front of any other like theme park icon. It could have been if it was just like creatively done.
We're sentimental people, so whatever it was going to be was going to have to be sentimental.
Like I could have seen I could have seen it to where it would have been like some sort of elaborate scavenger hunt, where, because a long time ago, when I worked at Magic Kingdom, there was like somebody was doing a proposal where they had like all of their like friends and family scattered around Magic Kingdom, and the proposal was a scavenger hunt where each clue took them to their next family member. So it was like the clue would take them to like a Jungle Cruise, and in front of Jungle Cruise would be her father or something like that, and then the next clue would take them.
Have if you had to plan that and get all of our friends and family to stay in one spot.
Yeah,
I wouldn't want that for you.
but even that would give it away. You know, like immediately, like when you started to get the idea of like, oh, I have a scavenger hunt for you around Magic Kingdom, and then you like see Dennis, you know, and then from Dennis you see my dad, and you're like, okay, like, and then my dad takes you to my mom, and you know, like it would have just, you know, and we even talked about this too, is our proposals would have been better for it to be an absolute complete surprise like it was, or something that you can kind of be like, okay, it's happening tonight. I can understand. I'm getting the hints and the vibe from, you know, and I ended up wanting it to be a complete surprise.
No, it worked out exactly the way that I feel like it should have, where it's like, we obviously have talked about marriage over the past few years, so it's like he knew what my answer was going to be going into it, so there was no like surprise on that end, but like when it happened was the surprise, which is exactly how I would want it to go.
As far as like the specifics of the planning leading up to the stay at Fort Wilderness, it was pretty much all done in the span of a couple weeks, because I know that just keeping secrets for months at a time, or planning out months at a time, and trying to oh no, lost audio.
Is that just on your end, Mom, or did anybody else lose audio?
I'll keep talking just in case. Yeah, so coordinating it with Brennan's parents, where I got their permission, of course.
And he asked both of my parents, too.
I did. And then talking to my parents and making sure that they liked you, which
what
they
do you mean?
Did. I was like, so this Brennan girl, I've been talking to her for a couple years. What do you think?
You know that girl that's,
you know, that
been in our lives
that
for the
girl,
past 9 years,
that Brennan girl
keeps following me around.
So coordinating that. So okay, before that though, I have to back up a little bit. So what made it be the Fort Wilderness cabins is because I've been sort of waiting for this window, and I'm sure that a lot of like life decisions happen with people in this way, where like if something is meant to be and it presents itself, then you take advantage of it, because that scenario that you hypothetically constructed in your mind presented itself. So it was like, okay, if this happens and if this happens and if this happens, whatever scenario that I would see myself in front of, if that happened, then that would be like, okay, this is it. And I'd been looking forward for Wilderness Cabin reservations because they are replacing them with the new updated DVC cabins, which, to be totally honest, fully transparent, don't really care for them. They look nice, they look updated, they look beautiful, and I anticipate staying in them with like my family in the future and everything.
Yeah, we're not counting them out.
But the comparative, like, personal opinion of what I enjoyed out of the current cabins and the just like the log and nature aesthetic of those cabins compared to the new ones, I prefer the old ones. And I'll still enjoy the new ones, I'm sure, but the old ones are special. They've always been special. They've always just had that place in my heart as like a Boy Scout, an Eagle Scout, where they just mean a lot more to me, you know? And even though they're not really wooden log cabins, I know that. But I don't know. They were special to me. Fort Wilderness has always been a place where whenever we've gone to Fort Wilderness, we've always had a new adventure. We've discovered something new. We've had this appreciation, and it's something that I love about you, is that you are an outdoorsy person and that you do appreciate and love nature. You like hiking. You've done camping with me, and you know, we've gone biking, and you haven't seen it in this like video yet series, but we went canoeing, and we want to go horseback riding, and you're just
canoeing again.
You're not too good for that, and I've always loved that. So Fort Wilderness has always been that place where we can go to and hike and just enjoy nature. And I stayed in the cabins with my parents years ago, and then we went back and we stayed in a tent, and then we went back again, and then we stayed in a actual cabin. So it's been a place that has been so personal, you know.
Well, and we've been dying to bring Arlo there. That was like another big thing, is because this was for his birthday. So we were really trying to think of birthday plans for him. So I think it just kind of aligned that way. And so we got to bring Arlo with us, stay in the cabins. He got to be at Fort Wilderness with us, and we just had like a great weekend with him.
And I think that was it too. Like, so again, just having these like multiple like options in my head of whichever one presented itself, and it made sense. That would be the one that I would commit to. And then just searching through, because I'm full transparency, I'm a cast member, so occasionally I will kind of comb through like available discounts and offerings for the like resorts at Disney, and I don't get to do that often, and even when I do get a discount on them, they're still very expensive, so we can't do that often. And I presumed with the Fort Wilderness cabins, with them being replaced soon, that we might have lost our chance. That might have been it. Like if they're all getting phased out over the course of time, then we may not have had a chance to stay there again. To stay there again, due to the popularity of the old ones compared to the new ones, or the phasing of how many sections they have to close down at a time, limiting the amount of like available reservations. But I was editing and having coffee one morning, and I checked the discounted reservations. Not that I would only do it on a discount, but just that's how I check like reservation availability.
Why wouldn't you do it on a discount?
Because the cabins are really expensive. And I saw that they had them available for my birthday weekend, and it was kind of that like moment of like that combined thrill and dread, but in a good way. The anticipation, and the excitement and the fear of like, oh my God, I said that I would do this. If this opportunity presented itself, I have to do it. And it was just like, I immediately booked the reservation, and then I called to ask about Arlo, because it was like, if this is going to happen here, Arlo needs to be there. And then I found out that we could bring Arlo, and like the process of the pet fee, and put Arlo onto the reservation too. And then I think the next day, talk to your parents just to because I finally had a plan. I didn't want to go to your parents yet until I had like a plan of full intention and commitment of what I was anticipating doing, and then asking for their permission and guidance with it, because I did talk to your mom multiple times about questions that I had. And they were over the moon, very, very excited and thrilled, and that was probably the coolest thing ever, is just getting their blessing, and it's very humbling, it's very exciting, and then I talked to my parents after that, and then I gradually told everybody else, Travis and Dennis and our friends and stuff. And
is that where I can interject with my side of all of this stuff too?
Yes, because I am talking too fast.
I was going to say, I think you need a break. So I think the reason I was so caught off guard, because I'm usually pretty observant about things, and I'm surprised that there were a couple things that I'm like, wow, I can't believe I just like didn't notice that or didn't pay attention to this. And I think it was because I was planning my own surprise for Roy for his birthday, which was to surprise him with his brother Dennis coming into town. So Dennis had reached out to me like a week or so prior, and he's like, I really want to surprise Roy for his birthday. And so we just kind of planned a perfect date. I knew what days off Roy had, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be perfect. You can come in the couple days, and then you can leave the day that we're supposed to go check in at Fort Wilderness, and it'll just be like this perfect thing. Well, lo and behold, Dennis, who knew about the proposal happening, called Roy and ruined his own surprise because he was trying to make sure that him coming into town didn't impede with the engagement. So he ruined his own surprise, but then they both kept that secret from me because they didn't want me to be suspicious about anything if suddenly like Roy knew that Dennis was coming into town. So they both just hid that from me, and they hid it from me to the extent that they knew that I was going to be watching when Dennis showed up at the house. Of course, we have a Ring doorbell. And I knew I was going to try and catch them being surprised on the Ring doorbell, which they faked for me knowing I was watching. So they faked the surprise, and I watched at work on my phone being like, oh, look, they're surprised. And they weren't. It was an act.
So as if that didn't add like an extra layer of confusion and stress. So the TRDL of that is that Dennis wanted to visit for my birthday.
TRDL?
What'd I say?
To read didn't long.
What happened was that Dennis wanted to visit for my birthday, and it was going to be a surprise, like you said. But then I told him about the engagement after he'd already booked the plane ticket and had the plans. But then he didn't want to impede on that weekend or add stress to me, because he's very thoughtful, in that way because I think that he knew that if he just showed up on the doorstep a couple days before I was planning on doing this,
you'd poop your pants.
that, well, maybe, and so we called to make sure that it was okay. But then he didn't want to let you in. He specifically did not want to tell you that he ruined the surprise.
Which is very sweet.
Because he didn't want to make you jealous. He didn't want to make you suspicious. Yeah. Because if suddenly you were planning on surprising me and then out of nowhere you were like, oh, I decided to tell Roy that I'm coming, or that he like whoop. Or like if he suddenly decided not to come, just like either options of those he felt would be too suspicious to like let you in on and have you be like, why? That's sort of weird. Like you were so excited to visit and now suddenly you just wanted to
ruin it
and tell him that you were coming, or that you decided just to randomly not come instead. And which then made me have to lie to you because I did know the entire video preceding the Fort Wilderness video was Dennis visiting, and even in that video, just on the off chance, I just wanted to make sure that I committed to the bit. I pretended like I knew that I did not know that Dennis was coming to surprise me, and I knew everything. And I showed you the text receipts of Dennis and I texting the whole time, telling me his ETA, making sure that we were going to like act on the Ring doorbell. We have a security camera inside the house, and I unplugged that because I knew that you would look at that too.
And I tried.
And you did try, and thankfully you did not get to see that because as soon as we got inside, after we did our little act in front of the Ring doorbell, where it was like, Dennis, what? And he came inside, and then I shut the door, and I'm like, all right, we're good. I unplugged the camera.
Imagine the Spider-Man meme where they're all pointing at each other, the three of them, except instead of pointing, where the three of us are just lying to each other the whole weekend.
Yeah, and I kept on, and I had to like continue the ruse of like, when we met up for dinner, I'd be like, I can't believe you knew about this, and I did it. Wow. Because what also happened too is that I was able to get off of work the day that Dennis came into town, which Brennan was like, that's really, wow, that's so convenient. And I'm like, yeah, it is.
I left that part out of the story. So the lie that I had told Roy of why I needed to make sure that he was home was because I had a package getting delivered, and I thought he would just assume it was like a birthday gift that he needed to sign for. So I was like, perfect, you have the day off. So as I'm like sitting there like waiting for a doorbell notification from Dennis, I get a doorbell notification and I look it up and it's an actual package being delivered. And I'm like, oh, that's ironic, but it's not the one I'm lying to him about. It was my Ring. So I got to watch my own Ring get delivered on the Ring doorbell.
Yep. And then Dennis showed up, and then we did just continue the lie for the next few days that can I do this right? That I had to pretend like I didn't know, but I actually did know about Dennis's surprise to surprise me, even though he ruined the surprise because I told him about the proposal that he knew about that you did not know about. And I was just trying to plan my proposal this whole time.
And I was just trying to plan a surprise family
And then
visit.
this just dropped on top of it. And
Dennis is like, I'm just here, guys.
But
Thanks for having me.
Meanwhile, it was great. I had a great time with Dennis. I probably relieved a significant amount of stress, just giving me something to do with my time. Just hanging out with Dennis, and like we went to just fun restaurants around town, and like got some drinks and went to some places. We went to Universal, and because at this point everything had been planned with the exception of just like waiting for the specific ring in the size that I needed it in, because in store did not have the best success with that. So once that was delivered, and then everything else was delivered too, because I got some extra stuff, and like I got like the little box with like the accent light on it, which I was pretty proud about that because it just like,
it was a lot prettier.
you can't see it in the video, but like when you open it up, it just hits that diamond, and it makes it just glow. And then I got some like nail polish, and I got a little Arlo bandana. That said, she said yes.
The nail polish thing was so sweet. Like, cause I don't wear nail polish that often either. Like I'll wear it for like
special occasions,
occasions like a cruise or like weddings or whatever. And so he was just like, I knew you'd want to paint your nails for the photo, so I bought you.
And that's something,
which is so sweet.
But that's something else too, is like try to manipulate somebody to wear something nice for their proposal. Like, especially when you're just checking into a Disney resort in the middle of the woods, where it's just like your natural instinct would be to just like, I'm just gonna wear a t-shirt and shorts, like I don't want to wear anything weird. like or too hot, or like we're just checking in and having dinner. That's all that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I did tell Brennan that we were gonna get dinner at Magic Kingdom. What I told her originally is that I wanted to have dinner at Tony's Town Square restaurant, which that I think that should have been kind of a giveaway, because it's just like, really?
Why? We had planned to go to Tony's one night, and that was.
But that's why it worked, because I was like, oh, we wanted to go to Tony's Town Square that one trip, and we didn't get to go.
That
So
was the ruse.
for my birthday, I want to go back to Tony's Town. But we're staying at Fort Wilderness in the cabins in the woods.
The cabins.
And so I'm just like, if I was you, I would have called that out and been like, don't you want to choose another time to go all the way to Magic Kingdom for Tony's Town Square restaurant?
That's why I'm saying that me being caught up in what I thought was my surprise to you with Dennis coming into town really distracted me, because apparently I also missed a ring catalog sitting in the back seat of his car that I just didn't even notice.
Yep, left that on the back seat.
So,
whoops.
I say my failed surprise for his birthday led to a successful surprised proposal. And that's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
So you're the real winner here out of all of this?
I planned my own surprise.
You did it. This is all you. I did nothing.
That's the clickbait thumbnail title. Girl plans her own engagement surprise.
So, what were we talking about?
Our engagement?
Oh, yeah. No,
Oh, you got hairs all over you.
I'm sorry. Arla's been all over the place.
That's like your hair or my hair.
Well, darn. Okay. No, what were we talking about before? We were talking about,
Before the dentist surprise?
well, specifically that. And no, where'd it go? I just had it. Oh, man. See, this is why you should just let me talk for an hour and never interject, because I'll just not know what I'm talking
I'd
about.
just be staring like this.
So, crap. I'm so out of it.
So you were talking about like everything that it took to get the
You're really, really far away.
reservation. And
Yes, okay, dinner reservation. Cool. Sorry. So, yeah, I was nervous about, and this is where I kind of like definitely lean on the fact that usually when it comes to like My Disney Experience or like theme park reservations or dining reservations or Lightning Lane Genie Plus, usually I would be the one to like do that for us, sort of, but that's mostly my own prerogative of like, I try to plan like weeks out.
Oh yeah, I'll never check that
because
stuff.
it's harder to get reservations that far, like, where you can't, unfortunately, you can't really do that anymore. You can't get reservations day of just on the impulse of going to a theme park, or you can, but it's more challenging.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if she checks My Disney Experience and sees like a dinner reservation for 4 for BR guests, like, I've got nothing to say to that.
Which the chances of me doing that are slim to none.
That's why it worked out that I did everything literally 2 weeks before, where just like that window was so small on the off chance of you checking that,
I'm not incapable of doing My Disney Experience. I just
No.
prefer that Roy does.
Not even that you
it.
prefer. I just
So I
kind of.
don't ever check.
I kind of just steamroll that as like my personality. I just because I do this, because everything is revolving around the like scheduling of when theme parks do new stuff, So it's really all about like when I have that window for us to be able to do stuff together. So definitely a little bit of a nerve-wracking potentiality of her like not ruining, but just like that not working out, I guess. And that's why I chose Magic Kingdom for Tony's, because it felt like the right amount of like, okay, if she at least sees that she has like a Magic Kingdom reservation, she won't question that, So it's just like, let me at least get like the park accurate that we're going to, even if we're not going to that restaurant, we're going to a much better restaurant with her parents. So, and then Tony's just seemed like a reasonable amount of like an excuse to like dress up a little bit. You don't have to. You can wear a tank top and
Booty shorts.
skinny jeans and flip-flops, but with that like initiative of like, oh, I wanted to take pictures. That was kind of like my main, like, I want to look nice, so wear something nice-ish that, without being like, oh, wear your nicest,
So
fanciest
I wore your flannel
dress.
shirt.
I did what I could. It worked out. It fit the vibe,
Well, you really wanted me to wear flannel, but like all the flannel that I had was old and I've kind of like outgrown it. And then, so you bought 2 new flannel shirts and I somehow just made it work with my leggings. It was, I don't know.
I had one flannel shirt, but I'm missing a button right here, so it was
Very provocative looking
it was
when
it was
I put it on.
not safe for kids, you know. So yeah, so trying to like do that, trying to coordinate that of just for your benefit, not really just because like I want her to wear this.
No,
You know,
you were just doing
it was just like
a
I
kind
don't want to do
thing.
that thing where you're like,
Or I show up in my Yahoo
yeah,
Soda
just
t-shirt.
like you let me get engaged in a Yahoo Soda shirt and skinny shorts, you know, like so. Trying to do that, but also being just like very subtle about it, and like slowly kind of push that envelope of like, no, wear something button up. It'll be cute. We can take some fun cabin pictures and can roll up the sleeves, or you like to roll up your own sleeves. But just like that was nerve wracking on top of like because whenever you do something like this strenuous level of you know, like you have that like mental countdown of getting to the thing, because I had a specific window of time that I gave to Brennan's parents so that they could show up at precisely the perfect time so that we could rendezvous and we could celebrate, maybe have some drinks, and then get up to the settlement to take the boat over to Magic Kingdom at a specific time so that we could scan into the park. Which, being a cast member, I was able to do that, so that's why we did that. We went to Magic Kingdom for like an hour that night, and then getting all the way back to be our guest 4-hour reservation. Be our reservation. Yeah. So that's how I kind of presented that to Brennan, is that we are going to Fort Wilderness, to the cabins for my birthday, which was true, but it was also this entire other planned proposal, obviously, that I wanted to do on that night, because it worked out with your parents' schedule, and then it made the most sense to do it on the first night so that we could celebrate the entire weekend, so that it's not something that was like weighing down on me or making me nervous throughout the rest of the weekend. It was literally get there and start this awesome weekend off the best possible way.
And then it just continued to be that.
Yeah. And so we had our not our costumes, we had our appropriate
Matching
shirts on that were matching, and
Our costumes.
And that's something else too, and I was like talking to Brennan's parents about that too, where they were like, are you gonna vlog it? And I was like, I kind of have to, because if I don't, that's suspicious. If I do something theme park related and I don't film it as I usually do, that's weird, and that's kind of sad, admittedly, you know, but I had to continue with this as usual, right? So we went to Fort Wilderness and we filmed the cabin. I filmed all the food that we had. I you know, all the stuff that I would usually film on like a staycation. Meanwhile, just internally screaming.
You joked
inside.
that you took forever to like film all the food on the table, like before I watched the video, because you were just kind of like nervous during that time. And when I watched the video this morning, you really did take forever. And you went through every specific food that we had on the table. And I could just hear your brain like trying to catch up with yourself as you were like on autopilot just talking about food.
And like when I'm holding like the map, I think you can see like my hand like shaking a little bit, because I told Brennan's parents 6 o'clock, right? Because our reservation for dinner was at 7:45, so I planned to be like at the settlement, to be prepared to wait for the boat to take that over to Magic Kingdom at 7 o'clock. So the engagement needed to happen around 6 o'clock, and then somewhere in there we would meet up with the parents and celebrate and hug and all that fun stuff. And then we would need to get up to the settlement by 7 to get over to Magic Kingdom by 7:45. So having that like specific time to go off of okay, we need to check in at 4 o'clock p.m. and then we need to be engaged by 6 o'clock p.m. or around that time, you know, because I didn't want to have Brennan's parents showing up at the cabin before it had even happened with their balloons and their cake and their champagne, and then, you know, like them seeing them in the window and being like, you know, sorry. But then in between that time, just trying to figure out, okay, how do I make this seem as like casual as possible up until the moment? And when will the moment be? You know, when will I try to discreetly put my camera over here and And
See,
you know,
I was even just like la 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 about that too, because I'm like, okay, cool. He's setting up the camera so that we could take a cute thumbnail. Because the whole reason we're excited to be here is because Arlo's with us, so he just wants to take like a family photo as we're holding Arlo with the cabin in the background. I'm like, yeah, status quo makes sense. Was not prepared for when he turned around, and then I called him out because
well, wait, but before that,
what the heck?
like I was even trying to like manipulate the environment to make it like proposalable,
Yeah, because
because
I had Arlo's like bed
Yeah.
and toys and blanket all set
yeah, because
up.
Arlo's stuff was
And
all
he
over
was
the
like-
ground, and she like took off her shoes, you know, and I'm like, well, to take pictures, we should probably move this for now so we can take pictures in the open living room, and like maybe you should put your shoes back on, and you know, for the pictures, of course.
And I'm like, okay.
If I didn't have this pictures excuse, I don't know what I would have had to go with, but fortunately that was a good excuse. Like, oh, for pictures, you got to wear something nice. For pictures, we got to move this.
I was just like,
for pictures, we
I'm
got to
like,
put your
it's-
shoes on. And
I'm like, it's Roy. He just doesn't want me to be barefoot in the thumbnail. Okay, I get it. Let me put them back on.
you know, you gotta pay extra for bare feet in the thumbnail. Sorry. Anyway, so finally the stage was set. Meanwhile, yeah, I'm getting like so ahead of myself, but I'm like, no, you gotta get to this point first. As we're like walking around the cabin, touring everything, just showing off that this is the same cabin that we've been in multiple times, and showing off the food and stuff. I'm like texting your mom, and she's like texting me updates of like, we're on our way, and that makes it so real. Like when to get a text from your parents saying that they are on their way to Disney World to celebrate something that has not happened yet, that's scary,
Yeah.
you know? And then even then I was trying to coordinate, you know, okay, like you put the food in the fridge and then I'm going to go rent a golf cart, you know, which I don't know if I would have done that. And I'm glad that I had the excuse to do that, because I don't know, I'm kind of like a Fort Wilderness purist with like golf carts, and because I think there's sort of like a pretension with it that I don't want to commit to yet, where to me it's like, oh, part of the experience is taking the buses or renting a bike, or we've brought roller skates before, just like using that alternative transportation to get around. Like you don't need, I'm finding little like pet hairs everywhere.
But it was his
Like-
birthday. Like, why not?
Yeah, so just like, using that excuse of like, oh, we've never done this before. Like, I'm going to rent a golf cart this weekend and everything. And usually you get like discounts and that kind of stuff as a cast member. You do not on a golf cart. So they're a little expensive. But the idea to get the golf cart was for her parents that she did not know yet were going to be arriving. That would have been the best method of getting us all to the settlement, like as expedited as possible without having to wait for the bus or deal with any kind of other like transportation and stuff. So I rented the golf cart and I got that back to the room, and I called your mom like while I was like doing that transaction and everything, and pretty much telling her like, okay, when you pass underneath the Welcome to Walt Disney World arch, let me know, you know. And from that point, just getting back to the room and having the golf cart, and then like being inside and stuff, and then like getting that text of like, we passed underneath the arch, was like, this is it. This is the moment, you know. And it was like, oh my God, it was like, and it's such a jump cut in the video, because it's like, how could it not be, being so distracted and scared, you know, and you know, just wanting it to work. And then Arlo was there too and stuff. So it's like, I don't know, it was all perfect. It was the right moment. It was the right time. I got all of the various stuff out of the living room, like cleaned the space and set up the camera, and you can tell this part.
So I thought we were taking a quick photo. So he turns around, gives me a hug, and then his heart is pounding out of his chest. Like, I hugged him and I could feel it. And I'm like, are you okay? Like, what's happening? And then I think like before it could just kind of click, I think it just started to happen. And he did the whole thing. And, you know, your little message to me will be for me. And then my message back to you with my expletives of excitement will be for you.
Yeah. Brennan had some adult words to say out of excitement.
I was excited.
So this is where, so I set up the camera and we had our moment, which was this entire conversation. Got very emotional, which wasn't expecting that to happen. And the fact that it did is like so validating and makes me so like happy, that it was so sincere and such like a beautiful moment. And like, if anybody is married, or engaged and just has that like, and everybody's different, and that's like great, where it's like maybe some people are a little bit more to the point and we're just like, I love you, will you marry me? But it's just like, but I wanted to have this like meaningful script almost, but I didn't want to rehearse it too much because I wanted it to be sincere and in the moment, so there were certain like aspects and bullet points that I wanted to like talk about, but like in the moment you don't remember any of that.
No.
Like you still remember your keywords and but it's so raw, and it was so just personal. And like, so that just entire clip of that moment, like I was able to record it. I did not know if or how I would use it, because this is where the YouTube thing gets complicated, right? Mm-hmm. Because, people have that opinion that if you put yourself out on the internet, then you are subject to the scrutiny of other people's opinions about your life, mm-hmm. which I think is a fallacy and very wrong, just to be completely blunt with it, where it's like, this is something that I want to share with people of our story and our experience. And most of it is just like fun and theme parks and everything. But all the way up to this point, YouTube has been this opportunity for me just to share my life and like the exciting moments. Mm-hmm. So the people that have been invested in this channel, in me and in you and in us together for this long, I felt like they did deserve to see that moment.
To see that.
And
maybe not like the whole intimate part of it, but
that's why I took out the audio, right? It was just a muted clip of the moment itself happening, which is good because it's like the alternative would have been to just not put it in at all and just have that moment be completely ours and just recognize that, oh, this just happened. Now we're going to go celebrate it,
Well, it's also like I caught up with myself like a beat after it happened. So like you had your moment in the beginning where you were like panicking, like you were going through your like palpitations and everything, and then you did it, and then that was your release. And then as it was happening to me, I was able to like register like, it's happening, you said yes, congratulations girl, you're engaged. And then I like left my body, and then I like watched myself, and then I was just like I'm like, ah, ah! And
she started bawling her eyes out.
And then that's when I started crying. That's when I started like screaming like, oh my God. And then the adult words. And then, I don't know. It just like, I could register that it was happening, but it took me a minute for it to hit me. Mm-hmm. And you had already gotten out of it.
At that point, I'd had my like relief, and I'm like, now what?
And I'm ramping up, and I'm like, ah!
Yeah. And that was just it was so cathartic to just have that conversation, like that buildup of like emotion and anticipation and panic and like all of what the previous weeks had been leading up to that moment, and just being like, yes, I've been planning it for this long, and I wanted to do it here because of this sentimental reason and this personal reason and this intimate, reason, and Arla needed to be here too, and I wanted it to happen right here, and that's why.
He got to be in the video, which was so cute. I had no idea he was even there while it was happening, but then like getting to rewatch it, where he just like, this second you got down on your knee and he just runs up. I was like, it's perfect.
Yeah, and I don't know, and it was just like to be able just to even have that personal conversation, of like, this is what I did, and this is why I did it. And like for you to like just listen to me just so intently, just it meant so much, and how everything made sense. And then I think when that realization hit you of like, this is like, this is one of the most perfect ways you could have done it, and mm-hmm. like getting that, what do you call it when you get like, approval for something?
Satisfaction?
When you get, it's like, tell me I did a good job.
Oh, praise, accolades.
Accolades, maybe. When like to get that, that just meant a lot, right? Where it was just like, oh, this all worked out exactly how it was supposed to, and she liked it, affirmation.
Affirmation.
That's what I was looking for. And then and this was also, I was trying to bide my time here and idle a little bit because I also knew that your parents were like
Oh, and they showed up
1 to 2 minutes
immediately.
away. So just as we're like talking and I'm just like catching you up on all of the planning and everything, and you're like, do my parents know? Do your parents know? I need to FaceTime my mom. And I'm just like, no, you don't need to.
Like, I had walked back to the bathroom to go like wipe my face from crying, and that's when like I look.
Validation.
Yeah.
Also.
I like looked out of the window
Thank you,
and
Seth.
I just see my dad's like bald head outside of the window.
No.
And I was like, is that my parents? And then like before like my conscious could catch up with my thought process, they were like bursting through the door and I just started crying immediately.
They had
all
balloons,
over again.
they had the cake, they
And I
had
was
champagne, they had glasses, they had a present for me for my birthday.
Yeah.
And they were just immediately there, and it was just like this. It was so perfect. Like the timing of it worked so well, and even the planning of like me, because I took your car up to the front, I parked that there so I could drive the golf cart back, so there would be a parking spot for your parents
Yeah.
to park there, so there wouldn't be like a problem of over parking in the parking spaces, where we were then going to take the golf cart to the front of the park to take that over to Magic Kingdom. So just like every little like aspect of how I wanted to plan that like worked out, and I know that I'm bragging, you know, and I'm just
You
I'm
should brag.
but
It was
it's not,
great.
but I'm not trying to be like, look at me, I'm so amazing. It's just like, wow, everything that I planned,
I'll do
like
it.
it
Look at
worked
him.
out.
It's amazing. It was amazing.
The only thing that didn't work out is just the size of the ring, and we're working on it, but it'll work out at some point soon, hopefully.
I already told Roy, I'm like, I have the rest of my life to appreciate the ring. Like,
Yeah.
We'll look back years from now in these couple weeks where I'm wearing this silicone.
But if it was
tie.
too small, then that would have been awkward, right? Where you're just like, oh, I want to take my
Look at me, I'm engaged.
like I want to take my engagement pictures, and then you know, and it's just like, oh no. So then your parents showed up, and again, just like the timing of that, pretty much going exactly how I thought it would be, and then telling you like, oh, by the way, we're not going to Tony's Town Square restaurant. We're going to be our guests, and then we're going to watch the fireworks with your parents in the park, which you have not done in a long time. And I know that they're going to love that, and you're going to love that, and everything is going to be perfect, you know? And like that surprise, I think, was also very exciting. Like not even the proposal, just like that knowledge that I was still sitting on for just a couple minutes of like, woo.
Achievement 1 unlocked.
Yeah. But just that like, oh, you don't know this, but your parents are about to show up, and we're about to like party, and we're about to go to
Party.
Magic Kingdom to be our guest, to watch the fireworks, and Arlo's here, and he's being a little cutie, you know, and here's his bandana that says she said yes, and here's your nail polish, and here's all this other stuff, and, you know, just like you just being just like, what? You know, looking like a Muppet and just like
Not a Muppet.
flailing in the wind with all this information.
In the wind.
And so that was great, you know, and then just driving the golf cart, something I've never done in Fort Wilderness. And now that's a memory to do that with you and your parents.
And Arlo.
Going up to the settlement. Yes.
Oh,
We did take Arlo on the golf cart.
he was scared.
He was a little scared. So that the what happens after this engagement moment will speak for itself in the future videos that I will inevitably post at some point soon, hopefully. I'm working through a good amount of videos because I'm just playing full catch up to this point. But I don't know. It was such a amazing, like spectacular way for it to happen. It happened in the way that I wanted it to, not because of like the premonition or the expectation or judgment of other people, you know, and that's just kind of been, and nobody can really escape from that, like that pressure from either the internet or your family about when you're going to do a proposal, and it's almost that aspect
You
of,
poor thing. You've endured so much from the internet.
I mean, not as much as other people, but
Yeah.
like just I wanted it to be something that I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, not because somebody was just like, oh, this is the perfect time for you to do this. Aren't you going to do it? Like, why wouldn't you do it at this point? Oh, or when are you going to do this? When are you going to do that?
Perfect
Like,
time for us is the perfect time for us.
I think what I felt insecure about, and I didn't want to not involve your parents or my parents, like, and if you wanted to have like that audience, because like we know people that have like gotten engaged on the beach with all their family watching, and it was this beautiful family and friends moment to share for everybody.
I think if it wasn't alone, I think the only other acceptable company would be our parents.
Right.
But I think the way that it happened, just intimately, just the two of us and Arlo, was
Yeah. Well, and that's
perfect.
that's like for me specifically, personally, that's how I would have wanted it to be, is like, because it's just about us, you know?
Mhm.
And I wanted to make it that moment, and I didn't want to make it about the internet. I didn't want to make it about like the most lavish, most extravagant way to do this, the easiest way to get views and likes and comments and solicit, you know, advertisement revenue from our engagement.
You didn't
know?
even monetize that video.
It did get a copyright claim, so if there are ads on it, which there probably are, they're not me. It was somebody else. It was a music company.
Russia.
Well, it's banned in Russia. Russia. So then that contributes to like the editing of that, where I didn't know how I wanted to include like the moment, or if I wanted to include the moment, and then it just kind of became this natural. And that's why like it took me a minute to get out the video, because I was like, how do I want to do this, you know? And then it was like, do I do like a montage? But then specifically it adapted into this like, I'm gonna do a Fort Wilderness like chronological montage.
Which that was a surprise to me, so it was really cute to see that.
Yeah. And just like finding all those like little moments of like us together, just sharing special like moments that we've done at Fort Wilderness leading up until the moment, like the present day big moment. And I thought about like me with my one hiccup. I thought about including like stuff from this trip that hasn't even been edited yet. Like we went, you know, to the dog park with Arlo, and we went canoeing and other fun stuff that we ended up doing like this weekend. But it was like, no, everything leading up to that moment makes the most sense. It's not a montage of all the cool stuff that we've done at Fort Wilderness. It's about what we've done together at Fort Wilderness up until that moment, right? And there were some videos that I left out, like if we went like just to Fort Wilderness to like look at the Christmas decorations or something like that, or like a checkout day. But I think it worked out pretty well. And the song that I used was Inertia by AJR, which is like a band that we both really like. That's like an acoustic song that literally came out that weekend that we were there last week.
Mm-hmm.
And just like the meaning of that like song is, you know, it's like an object in motion. It's inertia, right? So it's about like kind of like having that fight against wanting to do something but not doing it, and also knowing that you're this object that is moving, you know, and trying to get somewhere even though you aren't. So it's about like sort of I don't know, adapting around that idea of inertia. I think I'm maybe trying to push that agenda a little bit and making it make sense, other than the idea that I just really like the song and the melody, you know. But I think that there's something in there, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I talked to you about it, and
I was convinced.
it made sense.
I bought into it. Because, well, we both loved that song on the album, and then when they came out with the acoustic, it was beautiful.
Right.
And
it's
then you
like,
somehow managed to find the instrumental, and I was like,
Yeah.
oh, this is beautiful.
yeah, well, just taking doing the thing, you know, that you have all these reasons and excuses to not do at this specific time for this specific reason, you know, and being like conscious of it, but just doing it, you know, like, I don't know, that just made sense. Oh, so we have a super chat. Hello from Credence and Mikey. Congrats, watching your videos inspired me to start my own YouTube channel. Now I own 3 of them, and my main one is about to hit 50K. Hello, that is awesome.
Congratulations, that's awesome.
That is great. Yeah, you see, YouTube is just like, it's such a cool place of like community and just finding your niche and everything. And I think that that's just like, that's so special and important.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think about anything else that I might have missed just talking about.
Did anybody have any questions? Now
Here
that
we
the
go.
interview is done.
So after we got engaged, we went to Magic Kingdom. We celebrated with your parents.
Yeah.
And one thing that I do want to make sure is that people know is that my parents would have absolutely did want to be there, but they had just gone up to visit Dennis and Travis in their respective homes. And then right after they left Dennis, that's when Dennis flew down to visit with me. So they were visiting with Travis and their grandkids. And they were on their way back down, and they had just made it back home when we were going to Fort Wilderness to do the proposal. So just like the timing of that, coordinating that, for them to drive 7 hours down to Orlando just to go to like dinner and everything, just to celebrate, and then having to drive back the next day because we were still going to be having that like that weekend in the cabin and everything. So they were trying to be respectful of like us still having our like celebratory personal weekend in the cabin.
So I think what we're gonna do instead.
But I was also going to say too, because so the fact that we were able to celebrate it with your parents because they live in Florida. Well, my parents do too, but Florida's big. Because they live in Central Florida, because we are going on a cruise with my parents in like September around your birthday.
Yeah, and my parents aren't going on that one.
So that was kind of an idea of like, okay, well, if we celebrate here, we can celebrate here. But what we think we might do next month, which we just called them this morning about.
Yeah, I think we're going to try and plan to go to Pensacola. So while I was trying to figure out what we were doing for Roy's birthday, I also wanted to know what we were going to do for our anniversary, or I guess our dating anniversary now, because it was going to be 9 years. So I'm like, let's plan something. But now that anniversary is like, all right, well, now we're going to have a new anniversary. So
that was funny too.
Let's not do something big for our anniversary because we're about to go on a cruise the month after in August. So let's just do something like low key. Let's go maybe go celebrate with your parents so we can have some one-on-one time with them so that they can celebrate us.
We have consistently tried to do that where we respect both of our parents' involvement in our lives and everything, and we want to combine them together as much as possible.
And luckily our moms were texting about it the whole time.
Yeah.
So our moms had been texting back and forth, just probably what I assume is just going ee the whole time.
So yeah. So my parents would have absolutely loved to be there, but then they were also just happy to let us have our moment and celebrate with her parents, knowing that we were going to be celebrating with them on the cruise. But now we're going to try to squeak in a quick little trip up to Pensacola. Hopefully that works out next month. Which that would be super cool to be able to see them and celebrate with them, specifically. And then because the cruise in August is going to be a bigger. It's not going to be a bitter cruise. Hope not. It's going to be a bigger cruise with hopefully a lot more, with definitely a lot more family members and a lot more going on. And to go on that, as an engaged couple makes me so, I was so excited to do this because now everything, I can just enjoy it as an engaged man that I've just been wanting to do. We can go on cruises without that pressured anticipation of is he going to do it on this cruise? It's just I already did it. I can just enjoy a cruise. And now Halloween Horror Nights, and not that I would propose a Halloween Horror Nights, but
and now all the
Christmas,
familial pressure can be put on Dennis next.
Oh no.
It's off of us now.
Yeah, we can just enjoy Christmas too without that being oh no, if I don't propose during Christmas, it's a missed opportunity, and then we're suddenly into the next year, and I don't know. My friend Jorge told me a while ago, I was camping with him, and how he got engaged to Kelly. He just woke up one day, and he was just I love this girl, and what am I waiting for? And it was this, and comparatively to us, they got engaged a lot sooner, but just that kind of is there a more SAT word for the go get 'em attitude? That,
perseverance.
Yeah, sure. But just having that attitude towards that, and it really reflected on how I handled this proposal, of everything just we're in different tiers of how it needed to be addressed in order to move on to the next one, right? Just getting the reservation, deciding that's how I was going to do it, and then making sure that Arlo was allowed to be there, and then getting your parents' permission, talking to my parents, talking to my family, the ring situation, and what kind of a budget that I was looking for with that, when it would be delivered versus being in store, which nothing's in store because stock is very hard to keep in store, apparently. Ooh.
You good?
It's my root beer out of my cup.
Did we wish Calvin and Farley were there too? Probably would have been more of a mess.
They would have been just hiding under the bed, probably.
Yeah. And then do we have a date yet? No.
Nope, not yet.
I don't think we're gonna wedding plan for a minute. I think we're just gonna enjoy the engagement for a minute.
Gotta get the ring first again.
We're gonna wait 9 more years until the wedding.
Haha.
I think that's what we talked about.
I told that joke to Brennan's parents, and they were like laughing so hard they thought it was hilarious.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So that was our engagement at Disney's Fort Wilderness Resort in a cabin, a place that is special and important to myself, and hopefully you too.
Of course.
Yeah, which was
Even more
the
now.
goal. And now it's like, and I even told this to both of our parents, where we started dating when our first date was at Disney Springs at Disney Quest, right? Building that is no longer there. And now we got engaged in a Fort Wilderness cabin, which is very soon not going to be there either and replaced with another cabin.
So if you know of any condemned buildings that are about to leave this earth anytime soon, maybe
That's where we're going to get married.
yeah, that'll be our wedding venue.
I was trying to be sweet about it because I was saying that our love has persevered all these
Perseverance.
yeah, all these places and buildings that have not, endured the test of time, unlike us and our burning, passionate love.
Everybody email Disney and tell them to turn the old Disney Quest NBC building into
A wedding
a
building?
beautiful place and invite us to get married.
I mean, if they did, people would do it.
Disney, you could advertise the poop out of that full circle moment, just saying.
I mean, who would not want to get married next to Cirque du Soleil and the M&M store? Right? That's where I would do it.
Splitsville. No, that would be an omen.
Oh.
Get married next to Splitsville.
Well, we're not going to get married at Disney Springs. I can let you know that.
Unless somebody wants to donate thousands of dollars that we don't have. Please don't.
We'll see. I mean, now it's just like, I think I just, this too is this cool. It's not just on me anymore, I can sort of share the burden of our future. Which sounds like a really hardcore line from a heavy metal song. But like now we're engaged, right? And now we can plan together. We can like combine our like creative, like, preferences for a wedding or like a honeymoon, and it's just about what we want together. And I think that's going to be like really cool. Like it's the deed has been done that has been needed to be done for a lengthy amount of time. So thank you for your patience. If you've been following along for years, wondering when the hell this is going to happen, because it finally happened. So
Woo!
Everyone's welcome.
Oh my gosh. Mikey's is a wedding chapel with that weird ball vehicle game. The one where when the ball hits the side of it, the Buzz Lightyear game, it makes the most terrifying sound.
That could be cool.
CC's perfect.
I mean, it'd be cheap. What money you don't put into a wedding venue, you could put into the honeymoon, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I think we might go, unless there are like so many like particular questions. I tried to talk about the majority. I know that I left out some stuff, some details, but it's been a long couple weeks of planning and meticulously going through it. And
you were pretty thorough.
I think so. When am I not? I talk so much. But God, just like the misdirection of and white lies of me going to Disney Springs as many times as I did for Lorcana, when I was actually going to Pandora and multiple times and learning a lot about specific diamonds and collections that they have, and they know I was
gonna say getting on first
they
name
know
basis
me
with
by
the
name
Pandora
now.
ladies.
Yeah, but they're so sweet and so very helpful.
Mm-hmm.
But it was cool. I learned a lot about like that specific store and about like just, and I guess it makes sense where people that are like on vacation all the time come into that store because they're at Disney World and they're like, this is when I'm going to do it. I need an engagement ring,
Yeah, because you asked
because
them
it's,
that.
yeah. And it's like, why wouldn't they? You're at Disney World and you walk into a jewelry store and you just want a ring because, when else? Because a lot of people, they don't come to Disney World that often or at all, or just the once. So it makes it more special.
Just an overall thank you to everybody that's congratulated us and has just been following along with us on Roy's channel for however long. Like, I've been reading all of the really nice messages, and I don't know, it's just been really nice to see. So thank you everybody for your support and your love for us.
And I'm glad that I was able to make it like just like a cute little montage, because that stuff is important. Like we still watch back like the little montage of Arlo's first birthday. Like I don't do montages that often, but like whenever I can do them with like the right video or the right tone, then it means a lot because they're very cute to watch back.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody remembers how hectic and nervous I was to propose.
I bet you don't forget that.
I wasn't really nervous up until the day, where it was just like, I know she's going to say yes.
Yeah.
Like, I've known you would say yes for years, and just like the coordination of just getting everything
I'm sure
worked
that's
out
like
and
a
stuff.
big weight too. It's just like knowing what my answer is going to be and just making sure that you plan it out.
I wanted to make it was specifically about like the place and like the meaning behind why there, that you totally understood. So love you for that. That was cool. Because that's something I get nervous about, where it's like, if I had done it in this very private, personal place, if you would have had this reaction of like, here, or where are our parents? Like, where are our friends? Like, it just, here in a Disney World cabin, like, you understood the assignment, as they say, Yeah.
Not petition to change the channel name to Broyby.
Broyby.
No. This is Roy's channel, always will be Roy's channel. I don't want that extra work. I like being the passenger princess in his channel.
I could get out videos quicker. You be the vlogger and I'll just be the editor.
I'm fine.
Well, thank you everybody for coming to this live stream. Whenever this posts, if you want to, either on this after it's published or on the proposal video or engagement video, if you just have any questions, anything that you think is like
Or like your
fun to
own
clarify.
cute stories. Now
Yeah.
I want to hear. Now I'm that girl. I didn't care about anybody else's proposals before, but now I want to hear everybody else's stories.
And please, like, be on the lookout for the rest of the trip, because again, the idea was to do the proposal at the beginning so that the rest of the trip could be so fully enjoyed to its absolute most potential of what a stay at a Fort Wilderness cabin as like a newly engaged couple with like a puppy.
You're going to see the happiest puppy
could have
running
been.
freely in a dog park at Fort Wilderness.
And we made chicken skewers and burgers and omelets, and we went canoeing for the first time, and we rented the golf cart, and that was very easy to get around. Like, it was such a perfect final stay in those cabins. I don't know the timeline of like when they'll finally be like transitioned and switched with the new refurbished cabins, but we got to stay there one last time, and it was a pretty damn good memory, if I can say that. And I did, so there you go. Yeah, and I think it's cool. People have been following along on this channel for so long. Like the payoff and like the emotional relief for some people, I'm sure, that has just been like, some people may have been watching since the beginning, and that's been like a really long time. Yeah. And I know that you're aware of that, and I am too. But it's so special. Like, for people to finally see this moment, I'm sure is just this like cool catharsis that they're just very happy for us. Like, I have never seen that many comments on a video before, and I don't get a lot of comments on videos anymore. So to get that many comments of people specifically congratulating or saying that they've been following along for so long.
Where y'all been?
No, and that's fine. Nobody has to comment on videos, but just to see everybody's just like engagement and connection with us, it makes me so happy. So thank you to everybody that's watching this now, that is watching on the replay. Thank you for being part of our lives, and sharing in some big moments with us, and hopefully many more to come, so yay. We've been on a lot of adventures, but here's to the biggest one of all.
Yeah.
High five. We also high-fived in the proposal video.
Yeah. We high-fived after.
Yeah, so but did need to include that in the video. Thank you everybody for your investment. Thank you for your congratulations. We appreciate you. We love you very much. And thank you for watching Oiby Land.
Not the Oiby Land. Mom's going to live down or live this up.
She's not going to live that down.
Not going to live it down.
Goodbye, everybody. Thank you so much for watching. We appreciate you.